This is the review of the Olight M20S Warrior Tactical Flashlight. Hope you guys enjoy the video. The packaging of this flashlight just screams quality. It'll come to you in a very nice padded hard case, which allows you to store it and also travel with it without having to worry about anything getting damaged. First thing out of the package you'll get is your manual. It's very nice, very detailed. Go ahead and read it to familiarize yourself with the flashlight. You'll also get a very nice, tough and rigid holster. It's not like the cheap ones you get with some other flashlights. As well as a battery tube for switching out batteries really quick on the fly out of the flashlight. As well as a neck lanyard. It's not that big of a deal to have one, but it's nice to have in case you need it. As well as the flashlight itself. Now, unlike some manufacturers that give you a cheap and brittle feeling holster, Olight gives you a very, very nice, tough and rigid holster. There's also two places on the holster itself to store your battery magazines, which will give you the ability to switch out batteries really quick and really easy on the fly. Now, inside the holster itself, you'll find a small baggie of miscellaneous pieces. All it really is the glow-in-the-dark clicky tail cap, which I'll show you how to install later on. The ring that replaces the anti-roll ring on the flashlight, as well as a few extra silicone O-rings to go around the flashlight to make it more water resistant. Now for attachment points on the holster, you have a Velcro belt strap on the back of the holster itself. This will hook onto just about any tack belt or any size belt you can find. And you also have a nice D-ring on the back to hook on your included lanyard for whenever you want to hook the whole holster around your neck. Battery magazine isn't really anything special, but it is a nice thing to have when batteries go dead and you need to switch them out on the fly. To install the batteries, just go ahead and drop them into the tube. Make sure your positive and negative go in the correct way. If you don't, they will not operate properly in the flashlight, and you may not be able to use your flashlight at all. Just go ahead and screw the top cap back on, and you're done. One thing to note about the battery magazine is that if you don't put the lanyard loop on the top of the cap towards the front of the flashlight, your batteries will not operate properly in your flashlight, and in turn, your flashlight will not operate at all. So just make sure that you place your battery magazine into the flashlight properly, and you'll be good to go. If you decide that you don't want the aggressive stripe bezel or you just don't like the look, no problem. You can easily screw it right off the front of the flashlight to give it a very nice, clean, flush, non-aggressive look. If you decide that you don't like the anti-roll on the flashlight or just don't like having that piece on your hand, you can easily remove the clicky tail cap and just screw it right on off. You will have to pull a little bit as you screw to pull it over the O-ring, but it's not that big of a deal. At this point, you can also remove the pocket clip. Just make sure you do so after you remove the anti-roll piece. To remove the pocket clip, do not, by any means, try to pull it off with your fingers. You're going to want to get something to pry it off of the body itself. If you don't, you will bend your pocket clip and you'll have to bend it back into place. Simply just pry it off and you'll have just a little gap there and go ahead and pull it right on off the body. To install the anti-roll ring replacement, simply slip it over the O-ring and screw it onto the body. Now, this should screw down tightly, but if it doesn't and it keeps on spinning, you're going to want to screw that off of the body and put it back on the opposite way because you're going to want this to be screwed down tightly to hold on your pocket clip. If you decide that you want to use the glow-in-the-dark clicky tail cap button, you're going to need two things. You're going to need a pair of needle nose pliers and your clicky tail cap itself. On the bottom of the clicky tail cap itself, there are two small little holes. You're going to want to take your needle nose pliers and put those into the holes and slightly turn and do it slowly. Lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. Just go ahead and screw that on out until you get to the top. Now that you're at the top, go ahead and screw that on out, or go ahead and pull it on out, I should say. And you're going to have a small little piece on top of the spring. Go ahead and set that somewhere else so that it doesn't fall off, and make sure you know where it is so you can put it back on later. Now, to get the circuit board out of the clicky tail cap, simply push on the top button of the clicky tail cap, and the circuit board will come right on out. Gently pull, making sure you don't catch any wires or anything as you push the clicky tail cap. Now that you got that to the top and it's loose, go ahead and take a pair of needle nose pliers and gently pull it out of the clicky tail cap itself. Go ahead and sit this somewhere else because you're going to need it later to put it back together. Now that you have all the internals out, go ahead and take your needle nose pliers, and there are 2 more holes inside the clicky tail cap that you will need to turn to loosen the inside mechanism that's holding the clicky tail button inside. Go ahead and loosen those up. You don't have to take them all the way out, and once you loosen that up, you'll be able to take out your clicky tail cap button. Once you have the button out, you can simply take your glow-in-the-dark button and switch them right on out. Now that you have that installed, go ahead and tighten that piece back down so it'll hold the clicky tail cap button in place. So now it's ready to use. One thing to note is that there's a line inside this clicky tail cap for the circuit board to drop into. There's a little notch in the circuit board, so make sure that drops in to that line as you install it. Now that you have everything installed, go ahead and place that little piece that fell off earlier and place that onto the spring. Go ahead and push it down to make sure that it's all the way onto the spring so it won't fall off later. And go ahead and take your plate and screw that on down to the base of the clicky tail cap. If you don't screw this all the way down as tight as possible, it won't be as water resistant and water can infiltrate the clicky tail cap. Onto some specs of the flashlight itself. It utilizes a Cree XPG R5 LED bulb with a lifetime of 50,000 hours runtime. Has a 5 lumen mode at 600 hours, a 110 lumen mode at 11 hours, and a 320 lumen mode at 4 hours, and also a strobe. Weighs in at almost 122 grams without batteries. It also is Mil-Spec rated, as well as it's highly water resistant. One of the great features about the Olight M20S Warrior is the way you cycle through modes. On other flashlights, if you click too fast on the clicky tail cap, you'll cycle through all your modes. With the Olight M20S Warrior, you have to click the side button to switch through the modes. This keeps you from cycling modes on accident, and it's also a great strobe feature. If someone's coming up behind you and you have to strobe them quickly and the flashlight is off, you won't have to click and go through all your modes. The side clicky button acts as an instant strobe, so you can blind them, and then you can click the clicky tail cap, and it goes to the last setting that you're at. This comes in very handy when someone's coming up behind you, or if you're just in a game and you're wanting to switch through modes really quickly, you can click the tail cap as well as the side button and switch modes. If you're going to be mounting this to a gun, you're going to want a pressure switch. You can't use just any pressure switch. You have to use the M20S Warrior pressure switch. If you use anything else, it won't work and you won't be able to cycle through your modes. Go ahead and tighten that on and then screw it right on, and there you go. You have full access to a pressure switch flashlight. If you're going to be mounting the flashlight to a gun with a Picatinny gun mount, you're going to want to take off the pocket clip and switch out the anti-roll with a non-anti-roll ring. Just a quick tip so you guys will know. As I said before with a clicky tail cap, other manufacturers, if you click too fast with the pressure switch, you'll go and cycle through the modes. With the Olight M20S Warrior, you have to click that side button to cycle through the modes. This is great for when you're using a pressure switch because it allows you to switch through modes and still stay on one mode as you click your pressure switch. So if you're on a high mode and you want to blind someone, or if you want to blind multiple targets, you can do it without having to accidentally switch to the low setting. Now we're going to do a quick little range test on how far the flashlight can go. Okay guys, so this is 5 lumens. I'm zoomed in on a tree at about 100 feet, maybe a little more. This would be about your typical engagement distance using a flashlight. Most CQB will be close to about 50 feet, maybe less. So this is about at 100 feet. Right now at 5 lumens, I can distinguish the tree barely, not much. You guys can't see much. You're basically a black screen right now. So let's go ahead and get on the medium mode. So there's the medium mode. You guys can slightly distinguish. There's a birdhouse right there in the middle. Right there where I'm shining the light. There's a little birdhouse. That's a decent, from what I'm seeing right now, I can distinguish the tree perfectly. I can see every bit of the tree. You guys probably can't see much of it, but you can still see a little bit of me shining it on the grass and stuff. So that's good enough, I guess. But I can distinguish the tree perfectly, so this would be a great mode if you're trying to save on battery time. So let's go and get on to the high mode. So there's high mode. Very, very, very bright. Camera's picking it up near perfect right now. The beam on this is a very wide, and it's more of like a floodlight. There's not really a center focus of the light. It looks like that on the camera right now. There's a center focus, but it's more of just a flooded picture, basically. I can see probably another 25 feet to the left, or 15 to 25 feet to the left and right from my view right now. You guys can only see the dead center of the beam, so this is what I'm seeing right now. But yeah, so go ahead and get on to the strobe. So strobe's really bright. I'm not gonna do this too long. I'll probably make my neighbors mad at me. But from here, it's basically in the middle of the medium to high setting at basically a strobe. So it's pretty decent. It's really bright. So if you come around a corner, you are going to literally just blind your opponent. Overall, I would highly recommend this flashlight to anyone looking for a tactical flashlight, an everyday carry, self-defense, or even a gun flashlight. The value for money is through the roof. With all the accessories that you get, the hard case, and even the holster, it just makes this the perfect package for a flashlight. Overall, I would highly recommend this and tell anyone that asked about a tactical flashlight to get the Olight M20S Warrior. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to click the subscribe button to my channel. In the top right, you'll find my last month's review, as well as in the top left, you'll find my latest video. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you later.